So we've talked about a couple of strategies. When we factor, the first strategy that we've talked about was look for a GCF and use a reverse distributive. The second thing we just did was factoring a trinomial. That's when our answers ended up something like this. So let's do one that involves both things. So let's start with the problem that looks like this. 3x squared plus 3x minus 60. So I could factor this one, but it's going to be more difficult if I don't kind of go through my list of steps here. The first thing I want to do is look to see if there's a GCF, and this one has one. So I'm going to pull a 3 out front. So what's left is x squared plus x minus 20. Now that we have another tool in our belt here, factoring a trinomial, I want to see if this will factor again. So I'm going to try to see if this part will factor again. I'm going to choose x, and then I'm going to think of my factors of 20. It could be 1 and 20, 2 and 10, or 4 and 5. So I have to think of the combination that would give me a 1 right there. The only combination that would give me a 1 is a 4 and a 5. So this would be 5x. This would be 4x. So what would make it positive 1 is if the 5 was positive and the 4 was negative. So my overall answer is all of this. So when you're typing your answer in Delta Math, if there's a GCF from the start, you have to put the 3 on the outside, the x minus 4 on the inside, and then the x plus 5. You have to have all three terms, because when I multiply this together, it should give me what I started with. Let's do one more like that one. 4x cubed plus 40x squared plus 84x. So I'm going to start by looking for a common factor. Is there something they all have in common? Yep, they all have a 4 and they all have an x. So I'm going to start by factoring that out. So what's left here is x squared. What's here is 10x. And what's here is 21. So now I want to try to decide, does this factor again? So I've got to keep the 4x and then try to factor this again. X, x. And by now you guys are probably getting pretty good with the practice of finding your factor pairs. Which pair of these is going to give me a 10? It'd have to be a 3 and a 7. So the factored version of that would be this.